Had it been they told him the little act of kindness that he renders casually could result to something else, I bet you he wouldn't have believed. This is the story of Obi Ajulu, the boy whose small act of kindness awakened an ancient spirit and saved an entire village. In a far beyond red hills of Umujiako, beyond the forest where the wind sings to the tall Iroko trees, there rested a small village called Umechi. The villagers called it Umechi nke mmụọ na nke mmadụ na-akparịta ụka, which means Umechi where spirit and human converse. And truly, it was so. In that village lived a young man named Obiajulu, a heart that finds rest. He was not the strongest, neither was he the weightiest or the loudest, but he was something rare. He was kind. Kind in a quiet, effortless way, kind without expecting thanks, kind without keeping count. If an old woman drops her bundle of firewood, Obiajulu would pick up before she burns. If children fought, he separated them with patience. If the well ran dry, he fetched water for those who could not walk far. Yet in a world where kindness is sometimes mistaken for weakness, not everyone appreciated him. Some mocked him, some used him, and some took advantage of his soft heart. Obiajulu continued giving, for he believed that the one who sows kindness plants seeds in the soil of the gods. And little did he know, one small act of kindness, so small, he nearly forgot about it, would return to him in a way that would change his destiny forever. So as the dry season had begun, the Harmattan wind swept across Umechi, coating rooftops with pale dust. The fields were brown, the river shrinking, and the air sharp against the skin. On one afternoon, Obiajulu walked towards the Unzu River with a clay pot under his arm. The sun was hot, but the river breeze brought relief. And as he approached, he noticed someone sitting by the river bank, a huge figure wrapped in an old raffia cloth. The figure was trembling. Obiajulu paused. He looked around. No one else was near. And when he stepped closer, he saw it was an old man, thin like a broomstick. His skin wrinkled like a dry plantain leaves. Eyes were tired, unfocused. "Papa," Obiajulu said softly, "hope you are well." The old man lifted his head, revealing a face etched with sorrow. "I have walked far," he whispered. "My strength finished." Obiajulu dropped his pot and rushed to him. He offered water. He offered food from the pouch he carried. He helped the man shade himself under a palm tree. The old man drank slowly, then breathed deeply, relief spreading across his face. "What is your name, young man?" he asked. And he answered, "Obiajulu." Old man smiled, revealing missing teeth. "Your name fits you so well. You have given rest to my weary heart." Obiajulu laughed lightly. "It is nothing, Papa, just water and shade." The old man stared at him for a long moment. "There is nothing small about kindness," he said. After resting, the old man stood, surprisingly steady, and placed a trembling hand on Obiajulu's shoulder and said, "You will not forget this day, and this day will not forget you." Obiajulu did not understand. Before he could ask any more, a sudden gust of wind rose from the river, swinging dust and leaves into the air. He shaded his eyes, and when he looked again, the man was gone, vanished. No footprints, no rustling bushes, no sign he had ever existed. Obiajulu felt the hair on his skin rise, and in Umechi saw things were not impossible, because the boundary between the living and the spirit was as thin as the smoke from a cooking fire. He whispered, "Who was he?" But the river only murmured in reply. And as days passed, the encounter with the mysterious old man stayed in Obiajulu's mind. But life soon demanded attention. The villagers was troubled. For the first time in many seasons, the sacred well that never dried, even in the toughest harmattan, began to shrink. At first, the women murmured, then they whispered, then they panicked. Something was wrong, they said. Then the elders called an emergency council. The Dibia, which is the spiritual priest, consulted the gods with white chalk, kola nuts and cowries. And after a long silence, he spoke. "There is a cloud over Umechi, a shadow, a warning. Someone or something is offended." The air spread across the gathering like spilled palm oil. The well was the life, and if it dried completely, the village would suffer. The crops would die. The livestock would weaken and sickness would spread. But the Dibia shook his head when they demanded answer, and he said, "I see only a path. A path that belongs to someone with a pure heart, one who gives without expecting, one whose kindness has already been recognized by the forces older than the land. The villagers exchanged confused glances. Who is this person? The chief asked, and the Debia closed his eyes. When he opened them, he raised a slow, trembling finger and pointed not to a warrior, not to a worthy man, not to an elder, to Obiajulu. Obiajulu himself looked around, thinking Dibia meant someone behind him. Me, he whispered. Yes, you, the Dibia said. The gods have chosen you. That same evening, the elders summoned Obiajulu. The chief, a stern but just man, placed a leather bag at his feet. "We must journey to the forest of echoes," he said. "Here lies the answer to our village suffering." Obiajulu's heart pounded. Forest of Echoes was a place of legend, a place where spirits walk as freely as men. He bowed his head. Then before dawn, he set out. The path to the forest was narrow and quiet. As he walked, birds stopped singing. The wind did not blow. Even the trees seemed to watch him. And when he stepped beneath the giant gate like the roots, marking the forest edge, a deep horn vibrated through the air. It was as though the forest recognized him. "Move forward, son of Umeichi." The voice was not human, and the voice said. Obiajulu swallowed hard but obeyed. Then he saw the old man he once gave water to, and he sat on a log, alive, strong, glowing like a living water. Obiajulu knelt and asked, "Papa, who are you?" The old man smiled and said, "I am Abarame, the river spirit. You helped me when I came in weakness. The gods saw your kindness." Obiajulu begged for help and told him that their village well is dry. And the man answered, "I know, a cause lies in it, and only the one who showed kindness can lift it." Then he placed a shining calabash on Obiajulu's hand and told him to pour it into the sacred well at sunrise. Suddenly, the old man turned to a flash of blue light, and the spirit vanished, leaving Obiajulu alone with the calabash. Obiajulu ran immediately to the village. The people had already waited around the dying well. When he came in, he poured the spirit's water in the well. At first, nothing happened. Then, suddenly, a powerful burst of blue light shot up. The ground shook and water gushed out heavily, pure and overflowing. And the villagers rejoiced. The women danced and people praised him. Obiajulu's only kindness returning home. And that night, the river spirit appeared again, but now young and radiant. And he told Obiajulu, "You restored balance, for kindness brings many blessings." And he gave him a crystal box from the river and told him that this is Abando, the boss of life blessing, and it only opens for people with a pure heart. Obiajulu cried, said, "I only gave water." And the spirit said, "Yes, but that was the seed of greatness." And he vanished. And from that day, Obiajulu was no longer seen as the quiet boy who helped people for free. He became the heart of Umeichi. The chief offered him land. The traders offered him gifts. Also, families asked him to bless their children.